they'd challenge him. Maybe they would just stare and shiver and try to look bold. It didn't much matter to Jon Gage what they did. He'd leave by the front door anyway, and then, come what may, if they chose to shoot him, fine. He could not do much to defend himself, as he wore no guns. But for now, he would sit in the otherwise empty little saloon and enjoy his warm beer. "Another?" said the barkeep. Gage looked at the man a moment. "Sure, why not?" The barkeep filled a new glass and set it before Gage. Then he cocked his head to one side. "Why didn't you just say, 'No, that isn't me. Sorry, you don't have the right person'?" "'Cause that'd be wrong." "Huh?" "Dishonest," said Gage. "It'd be a lie, and I won't do that." He looked at Gage as if the gunfighter had just gutted a kitten with a wooden spoon. Gage knew the reason and the logic behind the sideways look. A gunfighter who won't lie? To most folks, that'd be like a lion that eats oats. The barkeep shrugged and worked his rag in slow circles down the length of the already gleaming bar top, leaving Jon Gage to once more walk his way through the stump field that was his mind. Far from the first time, Gage ruminated on the fact that life was an odd affair. Most folks start off in much the same way, with a big future wide open before them. And almost as soon as you begin to draw breath and yelp and gurgle, you begin limiting yourself and narrowing your future by making choices. Good ones, bad ones, downright vile ones. But all choices, nonetheless. As odd as many of those choices and the lives surrounding them might get, very few folks wake up one day and say, "I'm going to kill people for a living." Very few indeed. But he did, in a roundabout way, that is. And with that thought, Jon Gage, a slender, broad-shouldered, dark-haired man with the beginnings of early gray dust in his temples, sat at the bar in a little mountain mining town in the eastern foothills of the Rockies with a fresh glass of beer before him. With that, Jonathan Gage, a.k.a. Texas Lightning, levered himself like a boulder freshly unearthed and sent himself toppling and rolling, crashing and careening downhill, back into his past. Chapter 2. 12 years earlier than his present day. "You will marry and you will take over this here ranch and you will take care of me as I've taken care of you, by God." A rangy, raw-boned man who bellowed this did so from a swaying, spraddle-legged stance, sunken chest working like a bellows, paunched guts slopping. His veiny face and bulbous red nose shone with sweat, his eyes glistening and wet and reddened. His skin's gray pallor looked as if it might be more at home on a dead man. Jonathan Gage stared at this swaying man, Jasper Gage, his father, a bullying, brawling drunkard, who, despite spending most of his life upending one bottle of whiskey after another, still stood half a head taller than his son. Both men regarded each other, open contempt pulling their features into sneers. Then Gage the elder turned and looked about him for his bottle. He finally realized it was clutched in one of his claw-like hands. He hoisted it and glugged back a couple of swallows. "If Mama was here, you'd not act this way." The older man swung round, his latest bottle arcing wide as he spun. "What? You dare mention your sainted mother to me?" Jon Gage snorted and shook his head. "Now she's sainted. Seems to me you should have thought about that before you drove her to her grave." "Me? Why, you whelp, I'll show you a grave." The big man lunged, clearing half the room in two bold strides, upending chairs and a small table. "Ain't no way no child of mine's gonna talk to me that way, and in my own home, too." Nothing his father was doing much surprised Jon Gage, as they'd plowed this same ground many times in the past. "I told you more times than a man can count," said Jon, sidestepping his wildly lunging father, "that I am not a child and I am not afraid of you." The older man pulled up short, realizing with a head shake that his son was not in front of him, but standing to the side, arms folded over his chest. The younger man continued to speak. "I am dang sure not going to marry to please you, and I am not going to take over this snake-infested sandpit you call a ranch. Heck, even the cattle we got don't know it's a ranch. It's no small wonder they look more like mangy coyotes and beeves and lied out.